What a topic this is. And welcome back. I'm going to do my best to relate here, because if you're in the position where you know you're ready to leap, you're asking yourselves the question of, man, I know I'm meant for more, but what is it? Right? And you know your heart's calling you towards something, but you are trapped in fear, or you're trapped in doubt or uncertainty. This can be the gap. This can be something that you can be stuck in, or something that can lead to your expansion. And so I thought I'd list the number one thing that you need to let go of if you are to follow your heart, what I call following your heart full time. And this is exactly what I did. So many of you may know I left my job to do this, to coach online full time. And when I made that decision, I had this pit in my stomach, this pit of fear and uncertainty. And why is that? Because I had the belief that money equals security. And I wasn't making a lot of money at my job. It was at a restaurant, but I wasn't making a lot of money coaching either. And so in my meditation, I would sit down and just allow everything to come up. And then as something would come up, I had a voice that said, just leave the job. And I felt really excited in my body. It felt so aligned. It felt expansive, but it also was very scary to my mind, right? To my ego that said, I need money to feel safe. I need money to feel secure. And so this is where you might find yourself, right? You know you're being pulled to something. You know your heart's calling you towards something. I know I talk to a lot of people in the online community, and so many are just like wanting to find and uncover what that is for them. So what's the number one thing you need to let go of when you have this heart's calling, where you know you're meant for more, but you're not too sure what? The reason why many people get stuck is because they're holding on to this space. It's what I call steps of security. And this is what you need to let go of. Let go of your steps of security. It's taking steps with security. It's having conditions on your leap, right? It's knowing where your leap's going. So if you were to leap that is to your expansion, you must let go of the idea that you know what's going to happen. You must let go of the safety of knowing where the steps are leading you and knowing the outcome. Here's one way to look at it. If you can see the outcome, it's not a leap. If you know what's going to happen, it's not a leap, right? Because if you know what's going to happen, that means you're operating from your mind, because your mind and your ego can see it. But a real leap, something that's guided by your heart, something that's guided by more than your ego, will never be known to you. It won't be known to your mind, which is why it takes some trust. It takes some guidance. It takes a deep knowing, right? A deep level of knowing. And that's what happens when you leap. So what happened for me is I took the leap to go from my job at a restaurant to do this full time. And I told myself this: I'm willing to either receive the opportunities that it's going to bring, the higher level opportunities, and equally, I'm willing to learn the deep lessons I'm meant to learn. Either way, I know I'm following my heart and I know I'm in the game. And this is the exact same for you. What you need to let go of is the security that your ego's, attached to, and start to just trust, have a deep level of knowing that when you follow your heart, that's all the answer you need. All the reasons you need is just that you feel it inside, right? Because when you follow that, when you follow your heart, you're being guided by something that's a lot bigger than what your mind can see. So let me ask you this. If you were to follow what your heart is saying, if your heart says, leave this job, if your heart says, contact this person, if your heart says, release this content, if your heart says, start this Facebook group or this YouTube channel or this podcast, if your heart's leading you towards that, for example, but then your mind kicks in and says, oh, you can't do that because you don't have the experience, right? Or you don't have the audience, or no one's going to listen. Notice the two separate voices. The first one was the voice within you that came in the form of expansion. It came in the form of alignment. It came in the form of excitement. The other comes in the form of a story, right? A story around why you can't and why it won't lead to what you think it would and why you could do it but do it later on, right? We've all been there. But notice this within yourself. If you were to leap, if you were to take your leap and listen to your heart and follow that calling, you must do it without conditions. You must not have conditions on your leap. A lot of people say, I'll leap. Yeah, okay, I'll leap. As long as I make money, as long as I don't fail, and as long as I'm not judged, right? And we're in this space of wanting to leap from a place of security. We want to take our steps with security. And that's not a real heart's leap. But if you actually do it, if you actually take that leap with the mindset and with the knowing that you're willing to accept all higher level opportunities and all lessons you're meant to learn, you'll access this deep knowing. This knowing of, I know I'm on my path and I'm surrendering to the outcome. I'm just releasing myself from the outcome. The outcome and the result isn't as important as the action that I'm taking from my leap, right? The leap is why I'm here. So the next question to tell if this is your heart or your head is to know, does it feel expansive? A lot of people ask me the question, do I do guided meditation? Do I do silent meditation? What's my next step, right? What's my next move? And I always ask them, what feels expansive for you? So me leaving the job felt scary. It didn't feel comfortable, but I could also feel that it felt expansive, right? It felt expansive. It felt like I was breaking away some stories. It felt like I was letting go a side of me, right? It felt like I was stepping into a new version of myself. I could not see the outcome. I could not see 2 or 3 steps in front of me. All I could see is that one step. And that one step felt expansive. And I just, instead of trying to figure out the 7 steps to get towards an outcome that my ego wanted, I decided to take the one step that my heart was leading me towards and then let go of the outcome. Completely let go of the outcome. And then just trust. And yes, it was uncomfortable, but it was expansive. So the question goes to you. What feels expansive? What feels expansive for you? What feels like your heart's leading you towards? When you sit down in silence, what's that little voice saying? The little voice that says, what if I just did this? What is that? Write it down. That's your heart calling you to something, right? Something that's bigger than what your mind can see. Listen to that. And when you leap, you have to do it without conditions. Let go of these steps of security that our ego loves. Let go of that. And what you'll grasp is something a lot deeper, a deeper knowing. You'll grasp an expansive side of yourself that goes beyond this physical form, right? That goes beyond what you can achieve. That goes beyond all of the things in your life that your ego is attached to. So write that down. What is it? What is it for you? What's expansive and what's your heart leading you towards? That'll lead you towards the calling, and just make that one step. Your heart is like the GPS signal, the GPS in your car, right? It's like just that one next step. Your heart, your GPS will not give you the next 7 to 12 steps all at once and say that's your destination. It'll just give you that one next step. So what is that for you? While you take that step, while you take that leap, separate yourself from that security and that safety and that comfort, and know that what you're doing is expansive. I'll see you on the next episode.